Alright, so I'm rebuilding this swing cylinder for a milling machine. I already broke this loose, but decided to make another video. I just recorded one before. I know I haven't made one in a while. I should get a bucket, even though it should be empty. Generally, there's multiple different ways to take these glands off. This one, yeah. Generally speaking, just clean that out so I can show you, but there's two holes here. They make a, I don't know why I can't think of the name right now, but they make a wrench to go over that. I have one for larger cylinders. I have a couple custom ones I've made. But for this one, I just use the pipe wrench. A lot of time, not a lot of times, but sometimes they're held on by bolts, usually larger cylinders. This one's obviously screwed in, but we're going to set that to the side for now. Stick this in the vise. Now, I just did this on another one, the other side. Let me open my tailgate up so you can put my camera on there. My shitty camera skills. Just waiting for that car to go by. This one has two holes on there. I'm trying to remember how I just did this the last time. Maybe I just used a punch, but this one has, wherever it is, there's a set screw in here. Always look for set screws. Some of them have a ball bearing behind it too, so be really careful. Because there's a ball bearing in there and you lose it, and you're going to have to find another ball bearing, and if you're in a pinch, it's not going to work out too well. This one doesn't have a ball bearing. And this is punched closed. The Allen screw to lock it. Alright, so maybe I didn't need anything to take this off. I just gotta back this off. It's already loose. It's probably a good idea to change this grub screw. But this kit does not come with that. So it must have been how I got the other one off. I'm assuming the reason why that was so hard in the beginning is because of that grub screw was on the first couple threads. Yeah, it was. Here's your piston, here's your gland end. It's really simple to do these. People bring these to hydraulic shops. As long as you pay attention to how everything came apart. I mean, for me, it's second nature. A lot of guys that dealt with these it's second nature, but I mean, if you're working on this stuff, you should basically know how seals work anyway. But I'll show you anyway. This is your wiper seal. All it's doing is cleaning the dirt off. So whenever you have a seal, like on this one, your fluid side's always here, your pressure side. Wherever you have a indentation. So when your oil hits this, it expands and is always pushing on this. So as long as you keep that in mind, it's pretty hard to mess it up. So then you get a scraper. Normally I would do this over a garbage can, but where is my other screwdriver? I don't know. Oh, I had it over here. I use this piece of shit screwdriver actually a lot for rebuilding cylinders, believe it or not. Let's try to do this. I'm trying to look into my camera as I'm doing this. Then this center one does not have a break in it. Now on most cylinders, this is not rubber. I'm trying to remember what the hell it is. I can't think off the top of my head. But they are not fun. Especially when you get into the bigger stuff. Definitely not fun. You can heat them up to put them on. I want to say, I mean, there's some of them that are Teflon, but I can't remember what they are made from. Wiper, yeah, you can see this in here. No, you can't see it, but I can see it. You see it's wiped out. Problem you run into with like a lot of these seals like this. If they are like this and you're taking them out and you've never done this before, then you're worried about which way it came out. But it's just really simple. As long as you have that lip end facing the oil. I mean, these ones are really difficult example to show, but usually this group is a little bit bigger. Some of them are 2 pieces. There's all different types of styles. There's no like standard when it comes to cylinders. A lot of times too, this wiper ring, a lot of times so this one's recessed inside here, so the wiper here sits inside that groove. Some of them have snap rings on them, and some of them are, you know, it's just a metal sleeve around the outside of it that you have to hit in there. Just clean this off really good. I normally wouldn't use brake clean, but I'm just using it for this video. I'd usually use the parts washer and then use brake clean to dry it off. But for purposes of this video, I'm not. Let me disconnect that. These are if you're rebuilding cylinders, especially these small ones, the smaller it is, the harder they are to do. The bigger the cylinder, the easier it is to do, until you get to, you know, ones that are really big where the rod nut is torqued at 75, you know, 100 pounds. I have a setup for doing that here. It's a big road plate. It's an 1.5 inch plate, and maybe one day I'll make a video about it. But so this tool folds the seal in. Let me bring it down more. Folds that seal in like that. Otherwise, you have to do this with your hand. It is not very fun. Let me see if I can get some light. And inside there, you can see that this lip is facing, it's sticking out more. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it sticks out on the inside, on the oil side. Let me put this wiper seal on. Clean this one off. this one first. And then if you have like 2 brakes, I'll usually go quarter, like if it, since there's 4 of these here. I'll do quarter, 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 and I put this on backwards, didn't I? Yeah. So since there's 4 of these sealing rings, I'll do quarter, quarter, quarter. Put this one on. I got one there, and it's not really that critical on a hydraulic system, honestly. It's not going to bypass that much, as long as they're not lined right up with each other. That one there, that one there. Okay, they're all offset from each other. And that's basically done. I'll show you here. Here's the other one for larger cylinders. My camera looks like shit, I don't know why. But these pins are 2 different sizes. 3/4 inch drive, hole on it. It doesn't work the best, but it does a job. To be honest with you, I use that pipe wrench a lot. There's some ghetto made up ones up top there. Those are for some older cat cylinders. They have a square end on them. And this gets used a lot for cylinders. If you're using a pipe wrench on it, I'm sure somebody's going to say something about using pipe wrenches on a gland end, but just make sure you don't have any burrs on the edge here. Just be careful with it, that's all. And then you won't have nothing to worry about. As far as putting this back together, make sure you put the gland end on first. A little bit of hydraulic oil. I just happen to have transmission fluid right here, very similar. Show you something else too. Huh, forgot something, hold on. I would have figured it out, don't worry. We forgot this O-ring. And I'll show you something about that too. I would say as far as the cylinders I run into, 90% of them, you're going to have a backup ring on here. Backup ring goes on this side. O-ring on this side. And a lot of them too will have another O-ring up here. So you have one here and one here. Lubricate your O-ring. And I have ran into this before on a Cat 938. It's rare I run into it, but there is times where it's happened where this edge here is not chamfered, and it makes it a motherfucker to put on. The best thing, I had these on hand. I use them they're for rebuilding transmissions, but these thin discs you can use, the Lip Wizard, to get started around the seal. Those are for pistons, transmission pistons. But they come in handy for a lot of different things. I use them quite a bit, actually. Normally this nut is torqued a lot. But on this cylinder, you seen I took it off by hand. But I'm going to put it on a little bit tighter than that was. And this grub screw back in. Find my hammer. Sometimes you're not going to be able to get that out. I should file that down a little bit. And if you can't, you're going to have to use this die grinder. water barrel for contamination. Just cleaning the edge of this out. Around those threads. Yeah, don't listen to me. Actually, you should listen to me because you guys had already seen what I did. I said it before, make sure you put the gland end on first before you do this. I actually very rarely do that, and I just did it. Because I was showing that lip wizard to you. That's what I was saying about this. A lot of times these nuts, I don't know if I said it, are Loctited, but since this is not an actual nut, I'm not Loctiting it. I don't want to screw the next guy, and that's not out west from the factory, so. Whatever chance I get to not screw the next guy. Just in case that next guy is you. Okay, they're not lined up. Mainly just getting that O-ring. Make sure you don't have them capped off, or you're gonna fight it, or it's gonna blow the cap off into your face. So this one doesn't have much room. I have another pipe wrench that I had modified where there's only, this is grinded down here, here, and there's only a little bit of teeth. So it kind of supports on the edge here, because a lot of times you'll run into, when you're tightening these, if you're on the edge and it's very small, your torque or your pipe wrench will roll, and then it'll get caught on this edge. Some cylinders, this edge is on the gland end is bigger, and some cylinders it's smaller, like this one's smaller. When they're bigger, they're nice, because then you have no chance of catching that. You can get a lot of torque on it. But this one, not so much. It's usually not a problem for assembly. It's taking it apart that sucks. And that is one rebuilt cylinder. I guess that I'll make that the end of the video. I was going to show the road plate I have in the back there, and the setup for doing large cylinders. If anybody's interested in that, I guess I can make a separate video on it. It comes apart, so it's all in pieces. There's a piece to it back here somewhere. Yeah, here's the arm for it. There's, I think, 2 different ones that I have there for 2 different size nuts. And basically a big road plate you can weld different size pins on it. I mean, honestly, if you don't have the materials on hand to make something like that, and you're not doing a lot of cylinders, it's not worth it. You can basically take a cylinder apart, a large cylinder like I dealt with. That was that biggest one I did. It was like 7,500 foot-pounds. It was on a Kobelco excavator. That sucked. I had a 12-foot long by, I think it was 12 by 8.5-inch road plate. With my setup for breaking that nut loose, with a 20-ton jack on one side, 20-ton jack on the other side of my wrench. It's a big long wrench. The thing's in the middle of it, and it twisted that road plate. It picked up the corner probably a good inch or two off the ground, and once we whacked the corner with this big behemoth sledgehammer right here, it finally broke loose. If you guys want me to make a separate video on that, I'll make one. But thanks for watching.